Have you ever noticed how the same thing can have different prices depending on where it is? It's kind of a funny game our minds play, deciding how much something is worth based on its location. Think about it. That bottle of water in your bag, it magically becomes more expensive when you're thirsty at a concert. It's the same water, but suddenly, its value has changed. We see this all the time, and it's not just with water. Coffee, clothes, even cars. Their worth seems to fluctuate like a yo-yo, depending on where they are and who's looking at them. It makes you wonder, what really determines value? Is it the object itself, or is it something more? This idea, that value is influenced by context, doesn't just apply to things. It applies to people too. We all have our own unique talents, skills, and experiences, but sometimes we might not feel valued or appreciated in certain environments. Just like that bottle of water, our worth might seem to change depending on where we are and who we're with. But here's the thing, your true value, just like that water's ability to quench thirst, never really changes. Imagine you're driving through the desert on a scorching summer day. The sun is beating down, and you've run out of water. You see a gas station in the distance, a beacon of hope. You stumble in, parched and desperate, and there it is, a bottle of water. Now, that bottle of water, usually a simple purchase, suddenly feels like a lifesaver. You'd probably pay anything for it, right? In that moment, its value has skyrocketed because of your need and the surrounding environment. That's the power of context. It can take something ordinary and make it feel extraordinary, even essential. The water itself hasn't changed. It's still just water. But your perception of its worth has transformed based on your circumstances. Now, let's flip the script. Imagine you're at a baseball game on a hot day. You're thirsty again, and you spot vendors selling water in the stands. They're calling out prices, but they're higher than what you'd normally pay at the store. Do you buy it? Maybe, maybe not. You might be willing to pay a little extra because you're at the game and don't want to leave your seat. But it's not a life or death situation like being stranded in the desert. In this context, the water's value is different. It's still important to stay hydrated, but your need isn't as dire. The convenience of buying it at the game might be a factor, but the overall value you place on it is lower compared to the desert scenario. Let's move on from water and talk about something a little more exciting. Cars. Specifically, a classic car, a vintage beauty passed down from a father to his son. Now this car, let's call it a '67 Mustang, was Dad's pride and joy. He spent weekends polishing its chrome, and it held countless memories of family road trips and sunny days. To the son, this car was more than just a vehicle. It was a symbol of his father's love and a connection to his past. But the son lived in a small town, and classic cars weren't exactly in high demand there. He took it to a few local mechanics and collectors, but no one seemed to understand its true worth. They offered him what felt like insultingly low prices, failing to see the sentimental value and the hours of love Dad had poured into it. This experience left the son feeling disheartened. It was as if people were putting a price tag on his memories, and it just didn't feel right. The car, steeped in personal history, seemed undervalued and misunderstood in his small town. Section 5. Finding a buyer in the big city. Determined to find someone who appreciated the car's significance, the son decided to take a chance. He loaded up the Mustang and drove to a big city known for its car culture and collectors. He went to classic car shows, met with enthusiasts, and shared his father's story. And guess what? People were blown away. They saw the car not just as a hunk of metal, but as a piece of history, a work of art. They admired its craftsmanship, its design, and the love that was evident in every detail. Finally, the son found a buyer who understood. This buyer wasn't just interested in the car's monetary value. He connected with the story behind it, the legacy it represented. He offered the son a price that reflected not only the car's market value, but also its unique history and sentimental worth. Section 6. Back Home Blues. Now, imagine if the son had never left his hometown. What if he had accepted those lowball offers, feeling pressured to sell? The car would have been gone, and with it, a part of his father's memory. This story illustrates how context can influence not just the perceived value of an object, but also our own perception of its worth. In the small town, the car was seen as outdated, just an old vehicle. But in the city, surrounded by people who shared his passion, its value soared. It's a powerful reminder that our surroundings can impact how others see us and how we see ourselves. Section 7. The context of value. So, what's the lesson here? It's simple. Don't let your surroundings define your worth. Just like that bottle of water, that classic car, and even ourselves, our value can seem to change depending on where we are and who we're with. But here's the truth. Your inherent value, your kindness, your talents, your unique perspective, they don't disappear just because someone doesn't recognize them. It's like the sun. Even when hidden behind clouds, it's still shining bright. Don't be afraid to seek out environments where you feel appreciated, where your strengths are celebrated, and your contributions are valued. Find your people, your tribe, the ones who see your light even on cloudy days. Section 8. You are priceless. Remember, you are not a commodity to be bought and sold at the whim of the market. You are a human being with inherent worth, regardless of your zip code, your job title, or your relationship status. So, the next time you start to doubt yourself, think of that bottle of water or that classic car. Remember that value is relative. It's influenced by perception, by context, by the stories we tell and the connections we make. Go out there and shine, my friends. Find your people, your places, where your light can illuminate the world. Because you, my friend, are priceless.